Back to Whispering Heights Ministry. Glad to have another opportunity to speak about something that deeply is interesting to me and hopefully important to you as well. Something I have been saying lately, and I think it has just tremendous, is this: almost everyone believes in God, but very few people believe God. Have you ever thought about that before? Almost everyone believes in God. They may not recognize who God is or know much about him, or they may even recognize that God is Jesus in human form, and there's the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Almost everyone believes something about God, but very few people believe God. As I said, been thinking about that a lot lately. So what about you and what about me? And what about when life is such that it creates question marks in our minds, frustrations in our mind, troubles in life that we don't know how to deal with, and we're just not sure what to do with life in general, and God in the midst of that life in our life. This last, I don't know, this has been going through my mind for some time, and today was a tough day. And actually, when you go back to a year ago when I had the car accident and all the stuff that I've gone through in this last year, believing in God, believing what God says is something that has been a real something I've had to really deal with in my life because I've had to believe what God says in order to get through all of the stuff I've been going through. And it doesn't end. It doesn't end. It's not just about the accident. It's not just about my getting better, my healing, my going to the hospital and therapy and going back to work and having to give up uh, um, my business and going to work for my son and all kinds of things. One of the things that has come to be true for me was that at some point in the future, I had to go and have a driving test in order to continue to drive. Now, this wasn't a driving test like any driving test I ever had before. This was a driving test that was about 3 hours long. It was all kinds of questions. It was all kinds of computer kinds of things I had to go through. It was eye exam. It was, and then of course it was driving in the car for oh golly, I drove forever. I think it was a 45-minute drive around the city with that, and I had to do that. I've been putting it off and putting it off, and I knew that if I didn't at some point get this test, that I would have the possibility of being losing my driver's license because it was mandated. And my doctor was very patient with me, knowing I needed time to heal. And I was thankful for that. Now, the test was quite expensive also. So, I mean, uh, well over $300 just for the test. And so I wanted to put it off for that as well. So, all this time, and over the last few days as we've been moving up to it, I'm thinking to myself, what if I don't pass this test? What am I going to do? How am I going to continue? How am I going to continue to get to work in the morning? How am I gonna know how I'm going to handle anything? And going to churches and preaching to churches, and how am I going to get that done? And how am I just going to go to the store? Because if I fail this test, I'm going to hear from the government, from the DMZ, that I no longer have a driver's license. So how is this all going to work out? And I've been really, really concerned about this, really worried about this, because I knew there was the possibility that I could lose. After all, there's a lot to driving. When you have brain damage, and you have to be able to pay attention to everything's going on. And we all know that I have a hard time with focusing. And so you got to be able to focus to be able to drive. I also knew this was going to be a very difficult test. It's intended to be. It's something that people with strokes and brain damage and other kinds of issues have to take according to the law. So I've never lost my driver's license, but what am I going to do if I lose my driver's license? Well, I better stop right here and let everyone know I passed the test. So I was very happy about that. In fact, she wrote, the lady doing the test said it was very unlikely that I was going to cause or have an accident. So I was pretty happy all of that. And of course, I'd had a boatload of coffee coming into this, which really helps with the brain damage. And of course, I had my medicine that I can't live without. I don't think I could drive without that at this time in my life. So I passed the test, and I'm ready to go, and there's no problem to go. But I have to tell you, I was really uh, struggling with that. And there's just been so many things over the last year that you that there was to struggle over, and I at one point had to uh, give up my see, brain damage, trouble, can't think of words. I had to give up my business. I ended up going to work for my son, doing the same kinds of stuff, but he's the boss now. Uh, I gave up a lot better amount of money that was coming in for that. I couldn't handle my job, and I couldn't handle doing that anymore. To be honest with you, half the time I couldn't remember if I'd sent him a bill or not for the work that I had done. So I know there were times I had done work and didn't get paid for it. So what are you going to do? So I had to give that up. And then possibly it was difficult to not only write out the bills, but just know how to handle all the things that I had to do with the brain damage that was that I struggle with, and talking to people, and just a whole lot of things causing that problem. Uh, what am I going to do for a future? I am 61 years old now, and for those of you that I went to high school with, and you're listening to this, yes, I was kind of old when I was in high school with you. So I was probably older than quite a few of you, but I still am. Some of you are still in your 50s, you young pups out there. So, anyhow, what am I going to do? I can't work a lot longer. And a year ago, before the accident, I thought, man, I can work until I'm in my 70s. I mean, I can pick up uh, anything I want to. I can carry it through a whole place. I can start working right away. There's nothing stopping. I can work late at night. I can do everything I needed to do, and I'm well fit physically. And I just thought, well, I could probably do this for a long time. But I have to tell you, I got old fast. I don't have the energy that I had before at all. I don't have the abilities that I had before. So I had to worry about that. And when you know you're nowhere near financially able to stop working, but it isn't going to be long until you're going to need to, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? A lot of things. These are just some of the things um, that have come to be real things I've had to think about and pray about, be concerned about. Never be able to read again. I probably never will, unless the Lord decides to do a miracle. It's just the way that it is. And I could probably go on for a lot of things. Interrelationally with other people is also difficult because it's so hard sometimes to come up with words. I say the wrong things. I don't say what I mean to say. People sometimes misunderstand what I'm trying to say. And I know you'll only get a little taste of that listening to me here on YouTube. And it also has a lot to do with how much medicine I've taken. And right now, I'm pretty well medicated. That helps out a lot. So over the last year and then going on to talk about what happened today and all last night worrying about this, and over the last week or so worrying about this, it brings me back to what I had originally said, which was this. Everyone believes in God. I certainly do. But do we believe what he says? That's a whole nother question. Do we believe what he says? Right now, I'm looking at my machine that I'm talking into. Now see, I can't think what it's called. And something's wrong with it. So I don't know if you can see my words, see my face, or not. I'm having trouble with this thing. I really need it to be able to communicate to people. I really need this thing. But what's going on with it? I don't know. I guess for everyone in real life, we struggle with real things. And the question mark comes to our heart and our mind is this. Do I believe what God says? I mean, when it gets right down to it, do I really believe what God says? I love in the Old Testament when God was speaking to Moses and the Hebrew people. And one of the amazing things that God said to them was, if you will obey me, if you will pray, if you will worship me, I'll take care of you. You will be like my children. I will make sure that all goes well in your life. I will make sure that even people do not get sicknesses while they're running around out in the wilderness. I'm going to take care of that. You won't have a bunch of sick people. I'm going to take care of even things like that. He said, you know what? Your women, when they get pregnant, I hope you know, uh, Miss, what was that called? Miss, I say when you're pregnant and lose a baby, that won't happen. Miss Jesus. You know what I'm trying to say. I'll take care of it so that won't even happen when you're out there. Now, this is just a couple of things in the Old Testament. Man, you get to all of the promises of God there. Incredible. The things that God says to us about taking care of us, about being our God, about us being His children, about Him teaching us and leading us. He says, if you end up in have to go to court, he says, if you have to go to court, I'll tell you what to say. I mean, that's incredible. You, if you if you love me, if you take care of me, if you serve me, well, guess what? If you seek my my kingdom first, all the things of life that you need, He knows where you are. He knows what you need. He knows when you need food. He knows when you need clothes. All the things you need, I'll take care of you. If if you will, my kingdom and me first, do all these things for you. Those are incredible kinds of things that God has promised to each and every one of us. And I suppose it is the evil one who is constantly to get us to think that God isn't capable of doing those things. Don't believe what God says. You can't trust Him. You can't follow Him. He's a liar. That's what Satan would have us believe, that God is a liar. When the truth is, He's a liar. Not God. So I go back to where we started this whole thing. I know I've said it a couple of times, is that, you believe in God. Well, in the Bible it says you will believe in God, but even Satan believes in God and trembles over Him. It's good to believe, but is that as far as it goes? What about in life where everything is as difficult as it can possibly be, and there's nothing you can do to make it all work well for you? You're incapable. That's what I experienced. I'm incapable. I'd like to shut this thing off because I don't think it's taking pictures of me properly. But maybe seeing this, it's a good thing. Maybe it brought home the point that I'm trying to make. We trust him. We believe him. Even when it does seem like it's working out, we believe him. Even when everything in life is telling you that God isn't listening, we believe him. How many people end up giving up their faith and no longer believing God or trusting him because something in life that took place was frustrating, hard to understand, hard to put your fingers around, hard to trust God, hard to believe that the things that he has said are true. There's a lot of people. And maybe that's where you are right now. And I want to tell you, in the last week or two, with this issue and several other things have come up, I've had to stop and just say to myself, I believe what God says. It's not about me. It's not about what I can get done. I believe him. And I will trust him. I hope and pray that God bless you through this. So let me pray with you as we stop for now. Lord, I thank you that you are always faithful, always honorable, always true. One thing that you don't tell us is when your promises are going to become manifest. But you will make it so when the time is right for each of us. I thank you for that. Teach us that. In Jesus' name. Amen. Hey, thanks for listening. And the other various messages that here on you and on Facebook. And I appreciate your time. Take care. Bye.